can he continue? He's done well. You know, you look at the goal returns from Wilson Isidore, fantastic. You know, we need to start getting Joe Bellingham maybe chipping in now. You know, these players have got to start producing the goods because it's the running to get into the playoffs. They've got to start playing well.
Patrick Roberts is a strange one. He's very much under the spotlight. And he's one of those players, everyone says, I love Patrick Roberts, love him, brilliant, but.
Yeah, exactly, it's a but. You know, we've got to turn them buts into positives. You know, so that's not just Patrick Roberts, it's the players now, they've got that running now. You've got to go out there and say, right, this is out, we're in touching distance. We're in touching distance. You know, you don't want to look back at the end of the season and talk about ifs and buts. We've got to say, now, let's produce the goods. Let's go on. Let's show them how good of players we are.
I think they've still got to believe they can catch Sheffield United in second place.
You've got to have that belief.
You've got to have that belief, haven't you?
Yeah, get a result here this afternoon. Sit back, wait, see what happens on Monday night. And then we go again next week.
Interesting how fortunes can turn since that 3-2 win at Middlesbrough. Sunderland, okay, they lost at Leeds, they played well. Middlesbrough, their season has just imploded.
Yes.
Losing at Bristol City again last night. They've got to go to Stoke on Tuesday. It shows you how quickly things can turn.
How quickly they can turn, and all of a sudden there's more pressure on Middlesbrough to even trying to get into that playoffs. You know, so we don't want to be sort of in that position where we're going to put pressure on ourselves. We're in a good position. What we've got to do now is take advantage, and that's starting today.
Two teams out. They've just taken their tracksuit tops off. John Egan, the former Sunderland centre-half, is on the bench for Hull City. He signed from Burnley in January, who had signed him from Sheffield United last summer. John Egan. There was a lot of talk. I think there's a lot of sort of thought that John Egan could come to Sunderland, but he doesn't fit the age profile. 32 years old now. He's on the bench for Hull this afternoon. Hull all in amber. The Tigers.
Tigers against the Cats.
Indeed, the Black Cats and the Tigers. Sunderland's players in a circle. They're getting into a huddle away to our left. We're looking down from the back of the main stand, the west stand here. Sunderland at the moment will be playing from left to right, attacking the Roker end in the first half. As I say, Hull all in amber. Sunderland in their red and white stripes, black shorts, red and white socks as they break from their huddle. Farai Hallam, mentioned earlier, the referee this afternoon, all in black, 2/3 of the pitch in sunshine, the roof of the Roker end and the west stand casting a shadow onto the other third of the pitch, as Hull City about to get this game underway, attacking the north end of the stadium as we look there playing from right to left. First of a double bill this afternoon. We've got Solihull against Gateshead at 3 o'clock. Tomorrow afternoon, 1 o'clock start, 2 o'clock kickoff for Newcastle United against Nottingham Forest. We're just waiting for the television director, who's standing alongside the fourth official at the side of the pitch, to give us the all clear to get the game started. A couple of other 12:30 kickoffs today. Derby against Millwall and Plymouth against Cardiff. A very big game at the bottom of the Championship this afternoon as we're underway here. Last night Bristol City beat Middlesbrough 2-1. Burnley beat Sheffield Wednesday 4-0 as O'Nien hooks the ball up over the halfway line. It's headed on by Louis Coyle, the Hull City right back, up through the middle. And the referee, well, there's a couple of heavy challenges. He's let them go. Play carries on through the middle here as Roberts comes out to the right wing, having won the ball in the centre, played it behind to Hume, and across now to Luke O'Nien, who plays a diagonal ball over the shoulder of the centre half. And he is battling for this. McLaughlin, in fact, he's playing at left back, Sean McLaughlin, rather than centre half, and manages to wrestle the ball off Patrick Roberts and clears for a throw to Sunderland down the right-hand side. The back four for Hull is Louis Coyle, Alfie Jones, Charlie Hughes and Sean McLaughlin, who's 6'3" and is playing as a left-back for Ruben Sellish. As a chase for Joseph across to Luke O'Nien to try and win the ball back in the Sunderland half for Hull City, but it's out for a Sunderland throw.
Free kick, isn't it?
Was it a
Surely
free
it must
kick?
be.
I think it's a throw, is it? It's a throw. No, you're right. It was a free kick on the touchline. Sirkin takes it, taps it back to O'Nien, across to Ballard. On halfway, Hume to his right, but he goes more direct, looking for Chris Rigg. Comes back to Hume. Roberts now on the right, trying to weave his way through 3 or 4 Hull players and lays the ball off to O'Nien. Then down the left wing to Lafay. Halfway inside the Hull half, into the edge of the box to Joe, back to Lafay on the left, pulls it back. Behind him is Rigg, and Rigg tried a shot on the turn, having to come back onto it behind the penalty spot, but it was blocked. Couldn't get enough power on it, Rigg, as he had to twist to try and get on the ball. 2 minutes played, 0-0, but a bright start by Sunderland.
Good start. And we've seen Lafay do that a couple of times where he gets to the ball, he pulls it back to the penalty spot, and I think that's where you need the midfield players coming onto the ball.
Going too far forwards, aren't they?
Yeah, coming onto it.
And they're actually having to come back onto it rather than run onto it. So a throw now for Hull City. Louis Coyle, from a Fleetwood defender, will take this back to Alfie Jones, and goalkeeper Ivo Pandor, the Croatian, who's in light blue this afternoon at the Roker end. And here on the left, it's played down the left wing, trying to get it through to Louis Barry, the loanee from Aston Villa. A ball played across field, nearly lost. Jobe has slid in and won the ball back for Sunderland, but eventually it comes across to Trey Hume on the right-hand side, who pushed it forward but won back by Crooks. And now with Matazzo, the Colombian midfielder. The Belgian midfielder, Elliot Matazzo. We have a Colombian in Puerta on the bench. Is Alfie Jones bringing the ball wide down the right wing, trying to get, I think Gelhardt it was in the end, away on that right-hand side. Joe Gelhardt on loan from Leeds, had that spell here, of course. Back to Alfie Jones. It's swept up towards Kyle Joseph. It's headed back by O'Nien, across to Hume in the middle, closed down by Louis Barry, back to Anthony Patterson, who's in black and grey goalkeeping kit this afternoon, not his usual green, as it's swept away on the left wing by Luke O'Nien into the centre circle, and eventually it comes back after pressure on Chris Rigg to Anthony Patterson. Patterson just rolls the ball to the edge of the penalty area to Dan Ballard. Ballard, Hull keep 2 players forwards, Crooks and Joseph. Crooks now going to close down Ballard as he plays the ball back to Anthony Patterson. Matt Crooks, who the first half of this season was playing his football in America at Real Salt Lake, but signed by Hull, brought back to this country in January, played at Middlesbrough, of course. As Patterson walks the ball out here and then plays it to Luke O'Nien to his left-hand side. We're in the 5th minute. We're live on BBC Radio Newcastle. Dan Neil turns and twists away in the centre and gets the ball out to Ballard and wide to Hume. Hume trying to find Rigg. Sliding back in is Matazzo, who's very pleased with that tackle. Punching the air. And very excited. It's a corner, though. Came off the Belgian's boot and went
First
behind.
set piece.
First set piece, yeah. At the Roker end, taken short by Roberts to Rigg, and then tapped back to Roberts. In fact, it was Lafay to Roberts, and now at the edge of the area to Rigg, but the shot is blocked again on the 18-yard line and played out now. Hull trying to get out through Louis Barry, but Sunderland win it back. It's Lafay who won that back, nudged it back to Dan Neil, and down the left now to Jobe, and wide to O'Nien, who passes it back to Jobe on his left-hand side. Gelhardt just in front of him. It's come back to Lafay. Rigg, Neil, and out to Hume. Hume on his right-hand side, gets it through, but straight to Matazzo, and he's coming away with this up to the halfway line. Roberts on his shoulder, Matazzo into the centre circle, but cut out by Roberts. He tried to push the ball forwards, and then Neil trips over Matazzo's feet. The ball breaks for Job. Job then plays it out wide to the left wing. Sunderland pushing forwards on that left-hand side now with Lafay. Lafay cuts into the middle with Job. Job's going to think about a shot and then decides to play a low ball into the penalty area after his initial 2 attempts. And he thought about, had players in front of him, but now Joseph's on the break for Hull City into the Sunderland half. Ballard's all over him.
Well done.
And he's managed to nudge the ball or get it nudged back into the Hull City half. And you can sense there's a different atmosphere in the stadium this afternoon. There's a real buzz around the stadium of light. They're getting behind the team. It's been a bright, lively start. There have been no goals, but Sunderland very much on the front foot. The ball comes back here to Pandor, the 24-year-old Croatian, the goalkeeper. Closed down by Isidore. Played out to Charlie Hughes, who lobs it over the halfway line, comes off Ballard, is out for a throw to Hull City. Big game for them on Tuesday night. They travel to Cardiff, who are not out of trouble themselves. As I mentioned earlier, they're playing Plymouth this afternoon. Some big games at the foot of the Championship over the next few days. The ball comes back here to Alfie Jones, into midfield to Alzate. I think this is only a couple of touches on the ball in the game so far. The Colombian, Stephen Alzate, signed from Brighton in the summer. Comes back to McLaughlin. McLaughlin then to Hughes in the middle of the Hull half. Swings it wide over Gelhardt's head. He couldn't keep it in. Throw to Sunderland in the sunshine. Halfway inside their own half on the left wing, at the foot of the east stand. Quickly taken. Sirkin back to O'Nien, across to Ballard here. Closed down again by Matt Crooks. He lays it off to O'Nien to his left. O'Nien just bringing it up to the halfway line now. A lovely turn by Isidore. Isidore shakes off 1, 2, 3 players and finds Roberts on the right side of the penalty area. He pulls the ball back. They look like a handball, but the defender kept his arm down by his side. Even if it grazed it, they were never going to give a penalty. And Matazzo trying to get the ball out. It looked like a foul to me by Lafay, but play goes on. Rigg trying to get the ball in the centre again to Job. Comes back now to O'Nien in the middle, who stabs it out to Sirkin on the left-hand side, trying to get round Louis Coyle, inside to Lafay. Lafay now he's tackled. He's got 3 Hull players around him. And eventually Alzate back to his centre-backs and out to the left wing. Louis Barry back inside the penalty area for it to be hooked away by Hughes to the halfway line. And that's nodded on there by O'Nien to Neil, and now to Job. And Job looking here for Lafay, back to Job, out to Sirkin on the left-hand side. Sirkin acting more like the left winger now, and Lafay inside in a more central position. And O'Nien and Job forwards on that left-hand side again to Sirkin. Sirkin looks to cross, going for the header's Rigg. It's cleared, only as far as Roberts is trying to battle here with, it's fouled in the end. Louis Barry.
Good ball in by Sirkin.
And it's a free kick to Hull. But they're certainly putting Hull's back 4 under pressure. Trying to find a way through in the 10th minute.
Good tempo to the game.
Yeah. Can they keep that tempo up? That's the question. 0-0 at present. Just looking at a replay here, it does strike a defender on the arm, but his arm is very much firmly down beside his side. Free kick to Hull then. Pandor takes it over the halfway line. Looking for Joseph. There's a bit of shirt tugging going on by Dan Neil, but it's allowed to pass by the referee, and it's broken for Lafay here up towards the halfway line. Sirkin on the break down the left. Sirkin gets the ball. Louis Coyle's in front of him. Lafay behind him. Job inside. Lafay just lays it off to Sirkin. Back to Job. Job now back into the centre circle, into the sunshine. Ballard has O'Nien to his left, but he's going to go wide to Patrick Roberts. And Roberts now skips round Louis Barry, slips it on here for Rigg, who plays a lovely ball. He shrugs off McLaughlin, finds Hume, pulls the ball back, edge of the area. Didn't realise there's a player behind him. Gelhardt whipped round the back of him and got the ball off him as he was about to shoot. And now it's Hull on the counter-attack with Louis Barry over the halfway line, still going, slips the ball through here. Space for Joseph, he's played it back in. Sorry, Crooks to Joseph. But probably the wrong option. He should have probably taken the shot himself when he was in space.
He got away with it. From us nearly getting a shot away, nearly conceded, Nick. He was wide open there.
Left themselves very much, the back door wide open. I think Matt Crooks will just be kicking himself then. He should have shot, really. Tried to roll it into the path of Kyle Joseph, but it went out for a goal kick. 0-0.
Wide open touch and finish.
Now up to Ballard to clear, but it comes back to Louis Barry on this left-hand side. Corner of the penalty area, down the left of the box. Slipped it into the penalty area, cleared by Sirkin for a throw. On the left to Hull.
It's a warning.
Shaky at the moment.
Yeah.
Waiting for his throw on the left, which Sean McLaughlin's going to take. Republic of Ireland defender. Hasn't won a cap yet for his country, but maybe that's passed him by at 28. It's going to take another throw. He's been with Hull for 6 years now. Sean McLaughlin. Behind him is Alzate. Alzate now on the left wing for Hull City in their all amber kit. Hughes whips it across the face of Isidore. Now with Jones looking to sweep it up into the Sunderland penalty area. Hume heads it out into midfield. Rigg puts it in the air. There's a battle with Alzate to try and win this. Rigg clutches his head on his knees. The referee jogs across to see he's okay. Play has continued, and Rigg is just getting himself to his feet. I'll give Farrell Hallam his due. He's really trying to let this game flow.
I was going to say to you, you know what type of referee is in the first 10 minutes, isn't he? He's going to let things flow.
He's letting it go, and he's just keeping an eye on stuff, but the game is moving. As a consequence, it's been a better game for it, I think. As it's played up here to Kyle Joseph, he comes back deep towards the centre circle, lays it off to Hughes. McLaughlin trying to find Gelhardt down the left of the penalty area. Louis Barry behind him. He whipped it behind Barry, but he's worked hard to get onto it, Barry.
Careful.
Inside to Matazzo. Matazzo into the centre. Alzate back to the centre circle. Plymouth 0, Cardiff 1.
They're having a good passage of play.
They've endured that spell of pressure from Sunderland. They're having their spell now. Crooks to Alzate. Back to Jones. Alfie Jones, former Southampton defender. Here he is again, forwards to Alzate. And he lays it off on the wing. Coyle back to Jones. Now Hughes on halfway on the centre circle, whipping it out to the left wing. Louis Barry takes it on his chest, can't get round Trey Hume, who nudges it onto Roberts, back to Hume, and now up to Rigg. Rigg back to Hume. There's too many Hull players around him. Matazzo's got the ball here now for Hull City, slipping it into the centre. Crooks lays it off. It's picked up by Alzate. Now into Crooks again. Crooks back to Alzate, and then to McLaughlin. Through to Crooks trying to find Joseph. Back here for Gelhardt to strike with a left foot volley straight at Anthony Patterson.
Good play by Hull. They're starting to grow with confidence, aren't they?
Yeah, their first shot on target. 15th minute. Gelhardt, who took that shot.
That's the first shot on target, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
You know, even though we're saying Sunderland have started, but we haven't had a shot on target yet.
Patterson's the one who's had to make a save. 18 league appearances, 3 goals for Joe Gelhardt when he was on loan from Leeds at Sunderland 2 years ago now, 2023. Out come Sunderland, pushing out here with Luke O'Nien, and he plays it across to Ballard. Ballard lifting it down the right wing, looking for the run of Chris Rigg. McLaughlin's gone, well, Hughes has gone with him and puts the ball behind, and it's a corner to Sunderland. Their second corner of the match on the right-hand side here again at the Roker end. So Roberts, Lefay has come across as well. He's standing at the corner of the penalty area. Roberts is going to whip this in, or is he going to play it back to Lefay? He's going to curl this in with his left foot. Pandor punches it in the air, and Ballard gets his head on it, but across to Matazzo, who clears, and Jove has to sprint out to the touchline and hold off Matazzo for a throw to Sunderland. So 0-0, and Lefay plays it back. Eventually to Ballard, and out wide on the right-hand side to Roberts. Slips it up to Isidore, but it's tapped out, and he comes to Alzate. And now Hughes is pushed over a very theatrical dive. And the assistant was sucked in by that. He bought it, and he's waved for a free kick.
You get 9.5 for that, wouldn't he?
Very good, yes. He would do. But was clearly, I think, Isidore.
The only thing missing was water.
Miffed by that. Pandor's going to take the free kick for Hull, wide on this left-hand side. Big kick up over the halfway line, headed on by Job. Isidore nodding it into the centre circle. Coyle, a big kick forwards, hoping that Kyle Joseph can put O'Nien off. He's put the ball out behind for a corner to Hull.
Corner.
So Joseph did his job, really, didn't he, there?
Well, again, you're just thinking, could Luke have dealt with that a lot better than he did? He tried to be clever in that back header. It's gone out for a corner kick.
You've got to deal with the goal line.
Yeah.
But clearly over the line. Corner then from the right-hand side at the north end of the stadium for Hull. Whipped in with the left foot, and it's it's in.
It's a goal.
It's almost, was that straight in?
Yeah, no, it's come off the header.
Has it come off the header?
Patterson, and who's on the front?
It's Hughes who's going to claim it. Charlie Hughes, whipped in from the left corner, and Hull have taken the lead in the 18th minute. And Sunderland, another set piece, has found them wanting.
The goalkeeper and whoever was on the near post have got to deal with that ball, and they haven't done, and he's fallen to the Hull City player. He's just knocked it in. But we go back to, there was no need to give away a corner kick.
Yeah, it was a needless corner. It was viciously whipped in into the near post, and it can't even be an own goal, was it? Watching it again here, as it's through the hands of Patterson from Roberts. By the looks of it.
Roberts.
This is going to go down as Patrick Roberts' own goal, I think.
It's gone through his hands.
Yeah, through Patterson's hands, and it can almost claim. I think Gelhardt could almost claim the goal from the corner, but that clearly to me is a Patrick Roberts' own goal.
Patterson, it's gone through his hands, Nick.
It did go through his hands.
It's gone through his hands.
And so from that corner,
but that's how easy it is.
The lead.
You know, trying to be clever. You know, the ball's gone. You've got to deal with it. If you're going to backhead it back to the goalkeeper, you've got to make sure it's gone out for a set piece.
Yeah,
and we've paid the consequences.
And now trying to counter-attack here, Lefay hooked into the penalty area by the right foot, ankle almost of Isidore, but Hull get the ball clear. And told has been given as a Patterson own goal, but I don't think he touched it. It went through his hands.
I think he's come off Roberts' head.
Roberts' head and through his hands. He didn't touch it.
I think he did touch it.
Do you think he did touch it?
I think he touched it.
Yeah.
He should have caught it.
So Patterson, then it will be deemed as the own goal rather than Roberts. So 1-0 then to Hull City.
They've got something to hold on to now.
Yeah. We said they were having that spell, weren't they? They got themselves back in the game after Sunderland's bright start. But Anthony Patterson threw his hands, and Charlie Hughes just added the finishing touch for Hull by smashing it into the roof of the net. But the ball was already over the line by then. 21st minute now. Sunderland 0, Hull City 1. So Hull playing out from the back here. Hughes across to Jones. Long ball again up towards Gelhardt on the right, who gets his header over Sirkin, but back to Patterson. And now to Ballard just pushed out to the edge of the penalty area. O'Nien. Everton 1, Manchester United 0 in the lunchtime Premier League kickoff. Here on the left wing, McLaughlin trying to find Joseph. A little back heel through for Louis Barry to try and get round Ballard, but he kept cool. Got the ball away from Louis Barry, the 21-year-old.
Bit of character now, that's what we've got to show.
Yeah, have as Sirkin. Forwards down the left, Lefay on the left-hand side, Coyle in front of him. It slipped into Jobe, and it comes off Jobe. It's a free kick to Hull, says the referee, for a foul by Lefay on the right side of the penalty area. Pandor, the goalkeeper, will come out to take this. 22nd minute, we're halfway through the first half. Sunderland 0, Hull City 1.
We class ourselves as a good team. Good teams will come back.
Well, they should do. I mean, we've seen it before. We've seen Sunderland get back into games. Here's the kick from Pandor. Floats over the halfway line. Joseph trying to win it. It comes down for Jobe, who hooks it into Roberts in the centre circle. Now, Alzate trying to head it on for Hull. They battle to win it. Louis Barry on the left-hand side, Crooks on the overlap. Barry cuts inside into the middle of the Sunderland half. Matazzo is behind him, rolled out to Coyle on the far side. He curls a ball in. Joseph gets his foot wrapped around it. He's claiming the corner and he's won it. Came off O'Nien. So another set piece, another corner for Sunderland to have to deal with here.
And you look at the two teams, and when they get wide and they're making cutbacks, it's a problem, isn't it?
Yeah. Gelhardt again will take the corner. He took the first, which he curled viciously into the near post, and that caused all the problems and led
what
to
did
the
they
goal.
do now? They surround Patterson.
They're all
because
around
he's
him.
nervous.
There's 3 or 4 Hull players in the 6-yard box. One position right on him here. It's curled in again. Patterson has to try and claw it onto the bar, and it's hooked away. But it's worked twice for Gelhardt. He's got it right down the throat of Sunderland. They got it away this time. Barry puts it back in. Patterson catches it. Now you see they've got the issue of the sun in his eyes.
Well,
so they don't wear a cap.
I was going to say that he needs a cap. The sun's in his eyes.
But
why doesn't he wear a cap? Because it's not fashionable.
To wear any sort of
because it's not fashionable.
Headwear, yeah.
That's why.
Neil trying to come out, tackle, but the ball rolls back to Sirkin. Now inside to Luke O'Nien. O'Nien bringing this into the centre circle, rolled out to Ballard. The substitutes warming up, thus the applause. You can hear away to the left of us. It's Patterson, brings the ball out from the D and leaves it for O'Nien. Hull leading through that 18th minute, Patterson own goal. O'Nien to Joe, back to O'Nien. That's one back, is it, by Matazzo. And he's out on the right touchline, slips it forwards, gets it back in his own half still. He's trying to swing it across here to Louis Barry. Headed away. Cleared by Hull.
He's got some energy.
He's busy, isn't he?
Yeah, he is.
Elliot Matazzo, 23-year-old, signed from Monaco in January. Had a loan spell at Royal Antwerp. In between times is Neil. O'Nien just to his left-hand side. Up to the halfway line.
No.
And a clutch of amber shirts in front. Hull have possession back. Back with Coyle. He gives the ball away now to O'Nien wide on the left touchline. Lefay, the ball slips past him. Hull on the attack again, but in goes Sirkin, wins the ball, picks out Chris Rigg in the middle of the Hull half. He plays it to his right-hand side to Hume, and now to Roberts, slip back into Hume. Hume looks up, crosses, but it's Coyle who clears it in the penalty area. Out to Crooks, who's battling with O'Nien, and O'Nien wins the free kick. On the left-hand side of central midfield.
And I think that's where we've got to gamble a little bit. You know, our midfield players, either Joe Bellingham or a Chris Rigg or even a Dan Neil, to get in the box and give that support.
Hull have a line of defenders on the 18-yard line. Louis Barry standing 10 yards on his own from Roberts and Lefay, who are the pair over the free kick. Well, Gelhardt's shown how to deliver a good ball, hasn't he, with his 2 corners? Can Sunderland do likewise with this free kick? They trail 1-0. Roberts will take it, curls it in with his left.
Ball.
It's headed in.
Offside.
O'Nien dips, got his head on the end of it, but the flag came straight up. And the goal doesn't count. It was a good free kick.
Great delivery.
But unfortunately, seeing the replay here, and at the moment there were 4 Sunderland players actually offside. And now Pandor is sat clutching his left ankle. Players all coming across to their respective technical areas as Pandor gets some treatment. We're in the 27th minute. Hull leading 1-0. That Patterson own goal.
The thing is,
18th minute.
Yeah, I think is Patterson getting a little bit of a reputation now in regards of cannot deal with crosses coming into the box when he's being put under pressure.
A lot of talk recently that he's not having his best of seasons at the moment, isn't he? He's sort of kicking, and
he's not commanding his box, is he?
No.
You know, you look back at the Leeds game, and the 2 goals which were conceded from set plays, and then you look at the goal today. Look, you see it again now, you know, and you're thinking, come on, you've got to command. Even if Roberts is in your way, you've got to clear him out.
Yeah, it's. Do wonder. I mean,
it's not as though Roberts is somebody who's 6'2".
No, it's not. I mean, which is interesting as to why he's at the near post, defending the near post. But Pandor's back up on his feet now. Players.
Soft goal to concede, didn't it?
It was a very soft goal to concede. And they nearly conceded with the second corner as well. Patterson having to turn the ball onto the crossbar. About to resume here. Pandor with the ball in the Hull City penalty area, just to the left of the penalty spot in the shade at the Roker end. Patterson has the sun in his face here, squinting as the ball comes up through the centre. Bounces up to Dennis Sirkin, heading it on now straight to Joe Gelhardt, who's whipped away down the right-hand side out towards the corner flag on the right and plays it back to Coyle. Coyle now whips in a left foot cross. It's headed away by Dan Neil, headed back by Jones, headed away again by Sirkin up towards the halfway line, and there's Alfie Jones to turn it out to Coyle, forwards to Gelhardt. He's got Sirkin on his back, comes back to Zate, and then eventually back into Hughes, and Hughes back to the goalkeeper Pandor, and he's being closed down by Chris Rigg, but he gets the kick up into the centre circle. Joseph can't get round O'Nien. It comes to Dennis Sirkin, who plays it to his right to Dan Ballard. Ballard in the shade on this near side, the west side of the pitch. Hume forwards to Roberts. He let it run through to Rigg, and now Rigg is trying to get it onto Roberts as a chase, but Matazzo gets back first. He gets the ball, slips it inside now to McLaughlin, who's trying to push it through Dan Neil's legs. Joseph gets on the end of it and finds Alzate behind him. Forwards again to Matazzo, and now again to McLaughlin, and he plays it back to Hughes.
He's everywhere, Matazzo.
He is busy.
Isn't he?
Yep. And it's hard to keep track of him. He's on the left at the minute, but he can pop up anywhere. Here's Joseph, a ball over the top. Patterson comes out and grabs it. Joseph crashes into him and has hurt himself as a consequence. He's doubled up. Is crouched at the edge of the Sunderland penalty area. Joseph, he followed through on that. He's now got himself back up. He's winded himself, and the ball is with Dan Neil. He drove it straight at Louis Barry. Calls for handball, which should have been given, and Joseph's gone down again in the centre circle, doubled up in pain. The referee's come back to see what the issue is with him and leaves him. Joseph gets himself up. The free kick taken by Rigg, back to Ballard on halfway, across to O'Nien. 31st minute, and just sort of the full blow of Patterson's shoulder in his chest as the ball rolls behind for a Sunderland goal kick from Dennis Sirkin. Someone's lost a boot here.
Yeah. It's interesting the way Hull set up. They play like a 4-4-2. You know, they've got two players up top.
Yeah, Joseph and Crooks are up front.
Crooks.
And now there's howls of protest because Louis Coyle has lost his boot. He's moved himself back on the pitch from an off-pitch situation to put the boot back on,
Nick,
which has riled everybody up.
The problem, Nick, they're 1-0 up.
Yes.
They're going to do everything.
And you can hear
the supporters'
reaction to Coyle, who just sat calmly, tying up his bootlace, gets up now. And it's a goal kick, which Hughes taps on the corner of the 6-yard line to the goalkeeper to kick upfield onto the head of Sirkin. And it bounces in front of Lefay and goes out for a throw to Hull, who, as Benno says, lead 1-0. And it's frustrating for Sunderland because all that early momentum they had and is lost, really. Hull have dominated possession since scoring. Here's Hughes, gets it out to McLaughlin, then on down this left-hand side to Barry. And he gives the ball away to Roberts, who's lost it. And they're trying to win it back. It's a free-for-all. Barry wins it in the end. Trying to get it to Joseph. Ballard stabs a foot in. Breaks for Roberts on the right wing. There's a run from Rigg. Roberts is cutting inside.
Oh, no.
He sold it a bit short to Neil, but Neil does run onto it. And then to Lefay. The overlap from Sirkin. Lefay comes back to Job in midfield. Job then to the left again to Lefay. And Lefay back to Job. Closed down by Crooks. He finds Neil. Neil now looking for Hume. Hume, will he get to it? No, it goes behind the goal line. It's a goal kick.
Unlucky.
To Hull, but it was a good passage of play from Sunderland. That's going to keep that going. Pandor, who comes to slow it down again, drops the ball at the left corner of the 6-yard box. Charlie Hughes picks it up, pops it back down again, plays it to the goalkeeper, who kicks long again up over the halfway line. And back comes Sirkin. Crooks has gone with him. Sirkin turns. He gets it forwards to Lefay. Lefay now at the edge of the centre circle, just squares the ball short to Neil. Neil onto Rigg. It's a player behind him. It comes back to Neil. Rigg is on the floor, picks himself up. Hume back to Ballard, across to O'Nien. O'Nien then to Sirkin on that left-hand side. Sirkin wide to Lefay, trying to get it onto Job, but it comes back to Jones. Jones onto Gelhardt. He's tackled. Loose ball forced for Matazzo, though. Behind him, Alzati, a little back heel to Jones, and then across to Coyle inside now to Crooks. Little tap inside. It's played by Gelhardt through the middle, looking for Joseph, but back came Ballard to push the ball back to Patterson to clear up over the halfway line. Nodded forwards and then swept by Gelhardt up to Patterson because Joseph running back from an offside position. Bowled out to Sirkin on the far side. 35th minute. Sunderland 0, Hull City 1. We're live on BBC Radio Newcastle at 3 o'clock. We've got full commentary of Solihull against Gateshead as the ball comes down the right wing to Hume. Gives the ball straight to Matazzo. It comes off in the end for a throw to Sunderland. And Roberts looking for a ball. Finally, one is found, and he will leave it for Hume in front of Ruben Sellers, the 41-year-old Spanish head coach of Hull City, appointed on December the 6th. Now Ballard. Matazzo goes to close him down. Out to Hume on the right. Forwards here to Rigg. Rigg can't keep it in. Just let it run off his foot. Looks a bit disconsolate, actually, Chris Rigg. Throw to Hull City, just in front of their coach. McLaughlin with it, back to Hughes. Hughes back to the goalkeeper. And Pandor, closed down by Isidore, passes it out to Alzate. Across then to Jones. Jones bringing this out for Hull. Plays it into Matazzo in the centre circle. Just lays it off. One touch to McLaughlin. He's lifting it down the left wing, looking for the run of Louis Barry. Hume chases him. Barry on the left of the penalty area, trying to take it into the penalty area, but he pushes Hume down. Hume got in front of him. And it's a free kick to Sunderland.
But you've got to say, you know, at times the system they're playing, it works.
Louis Barry's an interesting story. Began his career at Sutton United, went to West Bromwich Albion. He's on the floor at the moment, picks himself up. Then he went to Barcelona for a season before coming back and signing for Aston Villa. He's a big West Brom fan, apparently. Is Roberts in the Hull penalty area. Too many orange amber shirts around him. He can't get the ball through, and it's out here on the left wing with Hughes back inside to McLaughlin, who puts the ball out because Barry is still sitting seemingly injured up the other end of the pitch, just his hand on his left knee. But again, you're tempted to feel this is a tactic from Hull, leading 1-0, and to just slow things down again. It's only going to get added on at the end. They're only going to add time on at the end of the first half for all this. So 37th minute, Louis Barry still receiving treatment, 21 years old now. Had loans from Aston Villa at Ipswich, Swindon, MK Dons, Salford, and notably where he sort of started to really get noticed, Stockport County. I mentioned earlier, 16 goals for Stockport. Sunderland 3 players, there's a triangle. Sirkin, Lefay and Isidore standing in the Hull half in the middle having a conversation. Everton 2, Manchester United 0, was that?
Yes. It's fascinating, isn't it? Because Hull have come here and they're playing basically 2 up front. You know, well, Crooks is just playing there,
brave and they've scored, they're leading.
Problem. Yeah.
Barry's up on his feet. It's just coming off here now. More players that have come down to the touchline, drifting back out. Barry will receive more treatment. In fact, he's jogging up and down the touchline, having a chat with one of the other Hull substitutes. Throw from Hume back out behind for a goal kick to Hull City. Barry, I think, looks fine. He's waiting to come back on by the looks of things. The 4th official's way down the touchline with him. Pandor has decided to move across the right side of his 6-yard box now to take the goal kick. All the players drift over to the right as well, around halfway. Although Barry's struggling, actually. Yeah, he's being supported by 2 staff down the touchline. So, not to do him a disservice, it does look as though he has got a knee injury. He wasn't feigning it. Here's Hughes, played back to Pandor. There is going to be a change for Hull City. Louis Barry does look like that is a knee injury, which is going to mean he's replaced. 1-0 then to Hull City. We're in the 39th minute of the first half in this lunchtime kickoff. Cardiff leading at Plymouth, goalless at Derby and Millwall. The ball comes back to Pandor, closed down by Isidore. Hull then playing with 10 men at the minute, and Louis Barry doesn't look in a particularly good way as he helped down the tunnel down below us, as Hume plays this on to Roberts. Back to Hume on the halfway line on the right. No. It's stabbed away from him by Joseph.
Don't foul.
Fouls him. He's rolling about, clutching his left shin. A replacement being readied for Louis Barry. What's the situation with Matazzo? On his back in the centre circle, I think.
No, it's Lincoln.
The Brazilian. Lincoln. 26-year-old on loan from Fenerbahce. It's his first appearance. So the Brazilian Lincoln on now. His dreadlocks dyed blonde and tied in a ponytail. It's quite a striking character.
He is.
5 minutes till half time. There'll be quite a bit of time thing added on at the end of this first half. There's a shot driven in from the a good 25 yards out on the right by Hull, and it's blocked and cleared, and now it's have to be dealt with by Jobe. back to an off. Well, what's happened there? The flags come up offside in that move, which eventually Joe broke up as the ball played over the top. Isidore chases to the goal line, and all he can do is play it high in the air into the Roker end. As you say, there was nobody up with him. He couldn't turn it back.
He couldn't do anything.
Frustration for Isidore. Goal kick for Hull. They lead 1-0. We've played 41 minutes, but there'll be a good few minutes added on for a couple of stoppages. And Pandor places the ball right again of the 6-yard box. The players in the sunshine on the right side. And there's a big kick up over the halfway line, flicked on, or attempted to be flicked on by Joe Gelhardt. And the ball's gone out for a throw to Hull City.
He's trying to let the game flow in, the referee.
Yes, I think I respect him in that respect. He's right from the start. He laid his cards on the table, didn't he? There was lots of, I think, questionable tackles. Other games would have been called, but he didn't. He let the game flow, and it was better for that. Here now is Lincoln back to Hughes, and Hughes closed down by Rigg. Floats a high ball long deep into the Sunderland half. Gelhardt brings it down in front of Sirkin, who's trying to stick with him. Brings it back now to Alzate. And Alzate forwards again up towards the corner of the penalty area to Coyle. Crooks is whipped off him by Lefay, out for a throw to Hull on the far side. Hull have definitely frustrated Sunderland since scoring. They've got to play it down on the goal line. It's Crooks. He holds it, plays it back behind him to Coyle to cross. In goes. In fact, it wasn't Crooks. It was whipped in for Crooks, and so in the end, Job has put it out. And it's another throw for Hull. Coyle will take it. Drops to Gelhardt. He comes through to the edge of the area. It's dinked in, headed away by Ballard. Back by Hull, Alzate, and it comes out then for Rigg to hook back over his head and out for a throw to Hull on the far side. 44th minute.
I just think we just maybe have to try to change things, Nick.
They're struggling to get the ball out.
Yeah.
Hull here with Hughes at the back again to Pandor, the goalkeeper. Isidore and Rigg. Isidore makes a run. Pandor takes the kick up over the halfway line. Ballard gets his head on it. It'll go to the right. Roberts running onto it, but has to work to get it back to Hume, but is pushed, and he wins a free kick. Picks himself up, Roberts. It's a free kick wide on the right wing inside the Sunderland half. BBC Radio Newcastle. 44 minutes played. Sunderland 0, Hull City 1. Hume, Ballard, across to O'Nien. O'Nien now dribbling up. Joseph goes to close him down, onto Job on the halfway line. Out to Sirkin on the touchline. Comes back for O'Nien, wide left and into the middle to Ballard, who runs onto this, pushing it forwards up towards the halfway line. Over halfway and taps it to Roberts. It's fouled though by Crooks, pushed over by Matt Crooks. Play goes on really. Niels has played it on to Luke O'Nien, who runs into the Hull half with it. In the last minute of the 45, the fourth official is Lewis Smith. We're waiting to see how much he's going to show will be added on, as Neil in the middle is blocked by Crooks, who loses the ball to Rigg. And Chris Rigg now, or Lefay, and Lefay down the left to Sirkin to cross, looking for Roberts, headed behind by McLaughlin. And we will have 6 minutes of added time.
6 minutes added time.
I just think that we need more men in the box, Nick. You know, at times there's only Isidore in the box. Then we only had Isidore and Roberts at the far post. We need players to arrive in the box.
Roberts then from the right-hand side. Lefay at the corner of the penalty area on the right. Whipped in by Roberts. Oh, someone threw themselves at it. He's caught in the net. Ballard, he has to get out now. It's put back in by Lefay. Comes back out again. Lincoln nods it down to Rigg. It comes in the air to Lefay. trying to get it out to Roberts on the right. And there's a battle and a free kick for a foul on Roberts by Joe Gelhardt.
And that's the difference, you know, between the two at the present moment. The yellow card.
Yeah, for Gelhardt.
You know, similar incident. Their first set piece. Scramble on the near post, ends up in the back of the net.
Yeah, what happens with some of the player ends up in the back of the net?
No.
Ballard tried to throw himself at it, but just got himself tangled in the side netting. Made the run, just couldn't get his head on the end of it. Free kick now on the right-hand side, then, which Lefay is going to take. Roberts just down 10 yards from him. Lincoln standing at the corner of the penalty area. Roberts jogs back alongside Lefay, but I think clearly the Frenchman's going to take the free kick. Rigg just outside the D. Roberts peels away. Lefay curls us in with his right foot, and it's flicked down into the path of Job. Can't dig it out. Joseph tries to, Sirkin lays it off to Rigg. Rigg looking for Ballard. His header caught by the keeper on the goal line. Either side of Pandore had at least made him really work for it, but it was headed straight at Pandore after Rigg chipped the ball back into Ballard on the 6-yard line. It's not the first save that Pandore's had to make, technically, from Sunderland. It's back up the other end. Played out to the left. Sirkin lays it off to Lefay. He's tripped. And the referee doesn't give a free kick to Sunderland Fury. As Hull moving on forwards again, but they give the ball away to Neil, who gets it back from Lefay. Man on, shout the crowd, and Benno. And here in the middle is Rigg. Rigg on halfway on the right-hand side. We're in the 48th minute of the 6 being added on, nearly up to 3 of them. As Sirkin, Lefay wide on the left, closed down by Coyle. He plays the ball back into O'Nien. Now Ballard out wide to Roberts, and Roberts going to come past Lincoln. He's dribbling at the Brazilian on his left. He clips the ball into the box. He's headed backwards into the 6-yard box. Now Isidore feels he was impeded by Coyle. Rigg or Lefay has the ball now with Sirkin, who plays it in towards Hume. Well defended, headed out again by Matazzo. And then Sirkin looking for the corner, wins it. As he put his foot through it. A 4th Sunderland corner. This time on the left at the Roker end. Across goes Roberts to take this. I think Isidore just got his feet caught up in Coyle's feet. He didn't trip him up as such, he tripped himself up.
You've got to say that whole set pieces, their corners have been terrific, haven't they?
Well, Gelhardt's been taking them, yeah. As Roberts whips this one, it's an outswinger. Ballard with the header again. It's going to roll out behind. It's just crept out. Job couldn't keep it in. It's a goal kick to Hull. 4 minutes of the 6 played. Hull leading 1-0. The ball comes out to Matazzo to give back to Pandore for the goal kick. Away from home, they've won 5 and drawn 2 of the 15 away games they've played. The players again across to the right. Pandore with the goal kick in the 50th minute, headed away from Joseph by Ballard. It comes back to O'Nien, who puts his foot through it up to the halfway line. Played all the way back by Coyle to the goalkeeper. Isidore goes to close him down and tried to intercept. The ball played out to Jones on the right, but Jones forwards now and back again to the goalkeeper. As Romain Mundle's warming up, thus the applause. The kick from Pandore, 51st minute now, into the final minute of the 6 being added on. Hughes just puts his right foot through it, takes it out to the left wing. Hume has to come right across and pick the ball up for a throw for Sunderland. Back to Ballard. Ballard across to O'Nien. O'Nien bringing this long down the right wing for Roberts, and it's headed out by McLaughlin. We've read that Ball floating through the air. Roberts wanting someone to move things quickly. Hume jogs down eventually to take the throw. Roberts slightly frustrated by that. Roberts plays it back now to Ballard. 15 seconds or less left of the first half. O'Nien out to Sirkin on the far side. Sirkin, defender in front of him. He's got the overlap from O'Nien, but the ball's run off him by Crooks. We're into, well, that's it. That's the half-time whistle. And Sunderland are going to go in trailing 1-0. Patterson's own goal in the 18th minute. It was a vicious free kick in from Gelhardt on the right-hand side. It came off Roberts' head at the near post, through Patterson's hand made contact into the empty net. Hughes just thumped it into the roof to make sure. And they had another corner. Gelhardt whipped that one in and Patterson had to turn it onto the bar. Since that 18th minute goal, Hull have really run the game.
Well, you've got to say that slowly but surely they've played their way into the game, and we've seen that time and time again. They've grown with confidence, and the goal which we've conceded is a poor goal. First of all, Luke O'Nien should have done better. If you're going to clear your lines. If you're going to head it back to the goalkeeper, make sure it gets to the goalkeeper. He goes out for a corner kick. Then you set yourselves up. Roberts is on the near post. Goalkeeper, the ball gets whipped into the near post. It's on Roberts' head. Now, some form of communication. Either he shouts, keepers, and he gets the ball. Obviously, I don't think there was a shout because Roberts is gone. It's come off his head a little bit, but even then, it's gone through Patterson's hands and fallen for the whole City player. He's put the ball in the back of the net.
It's scruffy, wasn't it? It was a scrappy goal to concede. And Sunderland struggled to find their way back into the game since then. Hull have been, they played it well. They've worked hard, and you've got to give their defenders credit as well. At set pieces, they have done what you're supposed to do.
That's it. You've got to defend. You've got to clear your lines. You've got to talk. I just think that looking at today, looking at Wilson Isidore, I think he needs a little bit more support. Now, you might have to gamble and play two up top. You've got to occupy their two centre-backs. Let's put them under a little bit of pressure. Let's press higher up the field.
Well, 45 minutes to go. There's only one goal in it. We'll have the full second half, of course, live on BBC Radio Newcastle and SAFC.com at half-time. At the Stadium of Light, it is Sunderland 0, Hull City 1.
Matt Bailey at breakfast.
Sam Fender's brand new album comes out today, and one of the songs is incredibly emotional. It's called Remember My Name, and the video is equally as emotional and stars Northeast actor Dave Johns.
Sam told me how much the song meant to him because of his dad looking after his grandma and how much family means to him. And we played the song a couple of times while we were shooting some of the scenes. I mean, it had the crew in tears. I mean, he goes, "Oh, thanks for doing it, mate. I'm a big fan." And so I told my daughter, and she was like, "Yeah, of course he did, Dad."
Matt Bailey at breakfast.
Just ask your smart speaker to play BBC Radio Newcastle.
This is Dominic James back in the BBC Radio Newcastle studio. Then at half-time, it is Sunderland 0, Hull City 1. Anthony Patterson with that unfortunate own goal after 18 minutes. We'll head back to the Stadium of Light shortly for second half commentary with Nick Barnes and Gary Bennett. In the Championship last night, of course, Bristol City beat Middlesbrough 2-1 and Burnley beat Sheffield Wednesday 4-0 at Turf Moor. In the Championship today, there was two other early kickoffs. Derby against Millwall, it's goalless at the break, and Cardiff are leading Plymouth by 1-0 at the break. There into the 3 o'clock today, it's Coventry against Preston, Norwich versus Stoke, Portsmouth entertain QPR, Blackburn go to Swansea, and West Brom welcome Oxford to the Hawthorns this afternoon. In the Premier League, of course, last night, Brentford, they went away to Leicester and won 4-0. Today in the early kickoff at half-time at Goodison Park, Everton lead Manchester United by 2-0. Beto and Doucouré with the goals for David Moyes' side. Into the 3 o'clocks then, and Bournemouth take on Wolves. Arsenal go up against West Ham at the Emirates. Fulham welcome Crystal Palace to Craven Cottage. Tottenham go to Portman Road and take on Ipswich. Southampton, they go up against Brighton in a South Coast derby. And Aston Villa take on Chelsea in the late kickoff in the Premier League this afternoon. And then, of course, tomorrow, Newcastle United go up against Nottingham Forest. And then in the late kickoff tomorrow evening, it's Manchester City against Liverpool. Non-league-wise today, though, Gateshead, they are away to Solihull Moors. We'll have full match commentary with Colin White and Paul Dixon from 3 o'clock, and they have arrived at Damson Park and join me now. Good afternoon to you both.
Good afternoon, Dominic.
Good afternoon, Dom.
Colin, Solihull not in great form, but Gateshead will be looking to get, 3 points today, hopefully.
Yeah, they're not in good form, Solihull, at all. This you may have people who have a passing interest in non-league football. You may remember Solihull as the team that Gateshead beat at Wembley in the FA Trophy final last May. 7 days before that final, Solihull Moors were also in the National League playoff final. And again, were beaten on a penalty shootout. So it was a horrible month of May for them. They lost quite a few players in the summer because they built a squad that was capable of playing in League Two. And it's not been a good season so far. They lost their manager, Andy Wing, who had been their manager last season, went to Barrow, moved up to League Two. In came, in December, Matty Taylor, former Portsmouth and West Ham Premier League footballer, scorer of some ridiculous 40-yard goals in his career. But their current form is not good. They've lost 6 of the last 7. The other one was a draw. They've only scored in 2 of those 7 games as well. So they are really, really struggling. They didn't have the worst start to the season, which means they are kind of smack in the middle of the table. They're 12th in a 24-team league, but a long, long way off the playoffs, and that looks beyond them as well. Gateshead won their first match of 2025 at home on Tuesday night. And Paul Dixon, I'm going to ask you about that in a minute, because it was a 4-3 win over Sutton that was the definition of topsy-turvy, I think.
Well, it definitely was, but it was a really, really exciting game against Sutton, and Gateshead, 2-0 up and absolutely coursing. And then, 47 minutes, 49, and I think 60 was 3-2 to Sutton, and the fans couldn't believe it. But anyway, they got back into it, and Luke Hannon scored an absolutely pearler. And then Jack Rolls, who finished off with a wonderful goal to make it 4-3, who scored 2 in the game, looks a real player and a good prospect for Gateshead. So, everybody went home happy with 3 points. And they've really got to get 3 points here this afternoon, Colin. I know, don't get beat. It's very good. But when you go for playoff positions, and the higher up, as we've talked about on our way down here, the higher up, the better it is for the home team. So I think Carl Magny will be looking for all 3 points this afternoon.
Indeed. I was explaining the very complex National League playoff system to Paul Dixon. I'm glad it was a 4-hour car journey on the way down, because it took up most of it, Dom. That's from much, much later. But this afternoon, to answer your original question, yes, Gateshead are big favourites here.
Yes, we can discuss that later on. We've got lots of time in our local football roundup later on. We can discuss that. But Paul, while I've got you, our non-league football expert, I want to get your thoughts on some of the other games going on today. South Shields against Needham Market in National League North. Shields at home will be hoping to get back on track and get some wins, get some momentum going, won't they?
Well, that's right. I mean, the game I've seen them play against Chester, they were promotion candidates that day. They played absolutely brilliant, and Chester had no answer to them, and they were terrific. And the 2,500 that are there standing and clapping them off the pitch, and then they go away to 2 games, and then they get absolutely nothing, losing them both. So they'll need to get back on winning ways. They've got the quality in that team, and they've just got to be consistent, and more so away from home. But at home, they're nearly unbeatable, Dom. They are.
Yeah, and in the MPL Premier, Blythe Spartans take on Ilkeston today. But the big news this week has been that the club, Blythe Spartans, have launched a crowdfunding appeal to secure the immediate future of the club. In a statement, they said the club faces financial challenges that threaten its existence. They've set a target of £25,000. And I've been talking to the Blythe chairman today, Kevin Miles.
As people may well be aware, over the course of the last few months, we've become a community-owned club. It's a club with proud traditions, a very famous name, and a vital role to play in the community of Blythe and the surrounding area. And we see a very bright future for the club. However, we've inherited a situation where the club is suffering under a sort of very crippling amount of debt that we've inherited from previously. And what we have the ambition to do, if we can, is to finish this season. It's not been a great season on or off the pitch, but finish this season in the black. In other words, to get rid of the burden of debt that threatens the existence of the club, to stabilise it in order to be able to thrive next season. And the crowdfunding that we've launched this week is part of that programme. It's one of a series of things that we're doing in order to try to generate the funds to stabilise the club, to make sure that the club survives for the town.
Yeah, Paul, I guess during the week, I mean, we're up to nearly £8,000 raised already, but it is concerning that the club are having to feel like they've got to do this, isn't it?
Well, it does, Don, but you know, for many, many years, Blythe Spartans, you know, top crowd in the northeast, really behind that team. But you know, they've had a lot to suffer over the last 3 or 4 years, and it's been tough this year. I mean, you know, they want them to go and support. I mean, you know, I've seen 1,400 there this season, and I've seen 350. But you know, it's a good request to ask the people of Blythe. You know, we need to save our football team. I mean, it's one of the best known non-league teams in the whole of England. So, you know, let's hang on to it. And if it's not at a high standard, we have a team and let's see if they can fight back and get back up to the dizzy heights of non-league football. But I'm sure the people at Blythe, and I think they've started already, are helping and support the club. And I think they'll rally round. And, you know, we'll have to pray that, yeah, everything's fine and Blythe can continue.
Indeed. Paul Dixon, Colin White, thank you very much for the moment. Build up to Gateshead's game this afternoon with Colin, and Paul will start straight after Sunderland against Hull this afternoon. Got time just to quickly run you through the other fixtures today in the MPL East Division. Well, staying in the Premier Division, actually. Heaven Town, they're away to FC United of Manchester, and Morpeth Town go up against Bamber Bridge. In the East Division, Ashington are away to Bridlington Concert Entertain. Belper, Dunstan are away to Sherwood, Coleraine, Heaton, Stannington are away to Emily in the Scottish Lowland League. Today, the Berwick Rangers are away to Stirling University. Of course, tomorrow there's none of our women's games, none of our women's teams in action because it's the international break. England drew 1-1 with Portugal last night in the Nations League. Just got time to quickly run you through some of the other stuff as well that's been going on around the region. In rugby union last night, England ran out comfortable winners against Scotland in the under 26 nations at Kingston Park. They won 57-13. Of course, the Calcutta Cup takes place at Twickenham later today. It's at 4:45. England against Scotland. And basketball last night, the Newcastle Eagles were beaten 94 points to 90 by the Sheffield Hatters in the semi-final of the Super League Cup last night. Tonight in the Super League, the Durham Palatinates, they are away to the London Lions. Tip-off is at 7:30. And at 2:10 today, it's the Ida Chase at Newcastle Racecourse. Brian Elson's Anglers Crag is in action, so we'll keep up to date on that. The only other thing to mention is the cricket, and in the Champions Trophy, England up against Australia, and England's innings finished on 351 for 8, and Australia have just started their chase there. They are 21-0 off 3 overs. But it's time for us on BBC Radio Newcastle to head back to the Stadium of Light for second half commentary of Sunderland against Hull City in the company of Nick Barnes and Gary Bennett.
Half-time highlights.
Total Sport Northeast.
BBC Radio Newcastle.
Corner then from the right-hand side at the north end of the stadium for Hull. Whipped in the left foot, and it's it's in.
It's a goal.
It's almost, was that straight in?
Yeah, no, it's come off the header.
Has it come off the header?
Patterson and who's on the front?
It's Hughes who's going to claim it. Charlie Hughes, whipped in from the left corner, and Hull have taken the lead in the 18th minute.
Total Sport Northeast.
Nick Barnes and Gary Bennett, MBE.
BBC Radio Newcastle.
So we talked about there may need to be a change. It looks like Romain Mundle's going to come on. You just asked me who's going to come off. You suggested Rigg. I think it's probably the most likely, don't you?
Yeah, and we'll probably put Lafay in the middle. Mundle on the left-hand side.
Well, here's Mundle now. He strolls out at the head of the team. We're about to see who he is going to replace. Everyone pleased to see Mundle back, being hugged by the substitutes. I'm trying to see who's not out there. No, Job's out there, he's in the middle. I'm thinking it's Roberts out there. Yeah, Roberts is over on the far side. Isidore, Joe, Neil. It's Lefay, yep. It's Lefay. Well, that's a brave, bold move, isn't it?
It is indeed.
Sunderland will get the second half underway, attacking from right to left as we look down to the back of the West Stand in their red and white stripes, black shorts, red and white socks, Hull in amber. The Tigers as referee Farai Hallam, and so Edward Dan Neil is waiting to kick off the second 45 here at the Stadium of Light, live on BBC Radio Newcastle. Is Mundle going to be the same player after a layoff, after injury against Coventry on November the 9th, as we start the second half? The ball pushed back to Anthony Patterson in dark black and grey, whose own goal is the difference between the two teams as we start this second half. And the ball out for a throw to Hull on the right-hand side. Sunderland, Patterson, Hume, Ballard, O'Nien, Sirkin, Neil, Jobe, Roberts, Rigg, Mundle now, and Isidore up front. And Hull City, Pandor in goal, Coyle, Jones, Hughes and McLaughlin the back four. They had to replace Louis Barry with a knee injury. It's Lincoln, the Brazilian, that's done that. Alzate, Gelhardt, and then Matazzo in midfield, up front Crooks and Joseph for Ruben Seller's team. Throw to Hull City on the left-hand side in their half at the foot of the East Stand. That third of the pitch still in sunshine as the ball goes back to Pandor, who's in light blue, the goalkeeper, the Croatian. He kicks the ball out through the middle, bounces over Mundle, who's trying to get the ball off Coyle. It comes back, though, to Alfie Jones. And Jones now just chipping it up to Lincoln in the middle, into the path of Matazzo. Matazzo's on a break here. He's got a player free on the left-hand side. Plays it to Joseph. Tries a right foot shot, blocked by Ballard, who's hurt. He's gone down. Gelhardt's trying to get the ball back through again. And now it's won by Alzate. And his shot skims the side netting. But Ballard's in a bad way.
Yeah.
He got hurt in that block.
But again, wide open in the middle of the park, Nick.
Well, Joseph was away on that left side. Crooks was waiting in the middle as well. Matazzo picking up the loose ball. Ballard flexing his leg, being helped up. Is he okay? He's limping. Just trying to stretch his legs, bend over, stretches. And referees,
I think Luke O'Nien said needs a substitution.
Needs someone to come and have a look here. The referee's allowing him to get some treatment.
Luke O'Nien saying substitution.
No sign of Chris Mepham at the moment going to warm up or anything, but he's just he's stripping off, looking to see some movement underneath the roof of the dugout. It looks as though Mepham, I think it will be, is stripping off, and Ballard looks there's shown a shot of Chris Mepham readying himself to replace Ballard.
Excellent block by Ballard as well.
Yeah, it was a very good block. As you say, Luke O'Nien has been indicating to the bench there needs to be a change. So Ballard's going to come off.
One player who I want to see is Mayenda, just to change it up a little bit,
things,
you know.
So it's going to be another stoppage here as we wait for Ballard to get up and come off. I don't think he's not happy. It's clearly a blow for Ballard to have to come off in the 49th minute. Some suggestion that Lefay may have a hamstring problem, which is the reason he's been replaced at half-time. And it could well be that Ballard has the same issue. So Mepham's coming on now for Ballard. Mundle came on for Lefay. As I say, suggestion that both substitutions, certainly Ballard's, because of hamstring injuries. But we'll clear those up after the game. Game has resumed and the ball played up over the halfway line, drops for Roberts, and now won back by Matazzo, won again by Neil, but Hull get the ball.
It's offside.
And,
It's offside.
no, well, the flag has stayed down, but I think it would have come up had he made contact with the ball. It's rolled behind the goal line because Crooks, I think it was, gave up his run knowing that he was going to be flagged offside. So all three substitutions, it appears so far, by both teams have been made because of injuries. And the ball played back here to Pandor at the edge of the Hull City penalty area in the 50th minute, Hull leading 1-0. And it's with Alfie Jones, who plays it down to Alzate, the Colombian, 26-year-old Colombian international, 7 caps for Colombia.
Offside.
And then offside against Sirkin. And Sirkin wins the free kick. It was against Gelhardt. The ball played across to Mepham. Down the right wing now for Roberts. Humes made a sprint down the touchline. It's played inside. He's trying to find Isidore and eventually out for a throw to Sunderland on the right. 2/3 of the way inside the Hull City half in the bright sunshine. Hume with the throw. Drops for Rigg. It's stabbed away by Hull. Hume tries to put it back in. Matazzo's won it back for Hull. Roberts trying to get it off the Belgian. We try to get it on to Joseph, but it's rolled back to Mepham. And Mepham now plays it to Luke O'Nien in the centre circle. Rolls it to Sirkin. Mundle's out wide here on the left-hand side. Mundle back to Luke O'Nien. O'Nien to Mepham. And Mepham out wide to Roberts. Roberts with McLaughlin in front of him. He's cutting inside, Roberts. Tried to slip the ball into Isidore, but Hull get the ball clear again. Throw again to Sunderland. Back it comes from Mepham to O'Nien inside the Sunderland half. Squares it to Neil. Dan Neil into the Hull half. Out to the left to Sirkin. Sirkin to Mundle. And Mundle plays it back onto the halfway line to Luke O'Nien in the middle. Rolls it forwards to Mepham. Wide to Roberts. And to Hume and Rigg. And that triangle, Roberts on that far side, the triangles that Regis Lebris likes. It's dropped from the throw to Rigg, back to Hume. Hume drives across off the back of the defender, comes back out to Rigg, down to Hume again, digs it out for Rigg. He's tripped. The referee says play on. Clear trip to my mind, but the referee felt that wasn't, and play goes on with Hull on a counter-attack. But the loose ball is going to be picked up by Sirkin as they try to play it through to Crooks. And now Mundle, he goes down. Crooks is clutching his ankle. He's rolled over onto the touchline in front of Regis Lebris. Referee comes across here. And what's he awarded? A free kick to Sunderland, I think. Cardiff City are down to 10 men, but they lead at Plymouth Argyle. And is back with O'Nien, now with Mepham wide to Roberts in the Hull City half. Back to Mepham, across to O'Nien. O'Nien up onto the halfway line. Forwards to Job. Job wide to Sirkin on the touchline. He's tackled by Joe Gelhardt. It's a throw to Sunderland again. Sirkin to Job. Job swings a ball across the pitch, looking for Chris Rigg. Hume ahead of him. Hume now trying to come in past the player in front of him, a defender. And now it's back with Luke O'Nien and wide on the left to Mundle. Hull are very organised. They get bodies behind the ball. Here, trying to get in down the left is Sirkin. Back to Mundle. Mundle battling with Gelhardt. Goes round him. Gets forwards down the left for Sirkin. Sirkin now trying to cross. Good ball towards Chris Rigg, who stabs it down for Troy Hume, whose shot is blocked in the penalty area. and it'll bounce away towards the touchline on the far side. McLaughlin trying to just lob it on to Lincoln and on again to Joseph, but Sunderland put it out. Hume knocks it out for a throw to Hull in the 54th minute. Sunderland trailing still 1-0. We're live on BBC Radio Newcastle. At 3, we full commentary of Solihull Moors against Gateshead with Colin White and Paul Dixon. Ball back in the Hull penalty area. Here to Jones, forwards through the middle, a flick on the right-hand side to Gelhardt. Gelhardt trying to get it back inside to Coyle. They win a throw, Hull, just inside the Sunderland half on the right-hand side. Louis Coyle is going to take this. It's just ushered back a few yards, drying the ball off under his amber shirt, and now stands in front of Ruben Sellers. Back to Jones. Isidore trying to close him down. Across to McLaughlin, wide to Lincoln. Inside then it's pushed on by Crooks to Joseph, and Crooks is offside. Free kick to Sunderland. Referee pointing as to where he wants the ball placed. Mepham takes the free kick. Over to Luke O'Nien. O'Nien swings the ball wide to the right, looking for the run of Roberts, but it's cut out. Played through the middle to Matazzo. Trying to lift it over Job. Drops it to Alzate, who plays it on then to Joseph, back to Matazzo, and out to the right here to Coyle. Matazzo again, down the right wing. Gelhardt into Matazzo, who tried to push it past O'Nien, who blocked it, and then a stab by Alzate to try and get it off Dan Neal. It comes back to Mepham and to Hume, past Lincoln on to Roberts. Little flick inside to Hume. Hume runs into the Hull half. Isidore makes a run, but the ball goes through to Pandore, the goalkeeper. He rolls it out just outside the penalty area to Hughes, to Lincoln, back to Hughes, and Hughes will play it to McLaughlin. Sean McLaughlin back to Charlie Hughes, former Wigan, Manchester City defender. Now on the right-hand side, Jones bringing this out up to the halfway line. Coyle crashes into Luke O'Nien, and O'Nien's penalised. It's a free kick to Hull City.
I just think I keep talking about my ender on. You've just got to go for it, trying to get back in the game.
No sign of any substitutes warming up. Matazzo is going to take the free kick. As he knows, he's going to leave it for Coyle. He's being urged by the referee to get on with things. He's tapped it back to Jones, forward to Matazzo again, out to Coyle on the right wing, looking for Lincoln. Over Sirkin's head, O'Nien has to tidy up on the shoulder of Joseph. It's played into the middle. Rigg, Matazzo tackles him. The ball back with Hughes. Hughes loses it though after a tackle by Rigg. Now Gelhardt trying to win it back, but Roberts has got it. Roberts rolls it down to Hume. Hume crosses Isidore!
Oh, he's missed.
Left it just wide of the left post.
You've got to score.
Great ball in from Hume.
You've got to score. A great ball in. You've got to hit the target, Nick. You've got to hit the target.
Isidore heading it wide.
No.
Just wide of the left post. Now the crowd getting impatient because of the delay in taking the goal kick from Pandore. He's pushed his centre-backs upfield. Kicks up down the right side, headed down by O'Nien. 1-0 then still to Hull. It comes back here to Dan Neal, back to Patterson. Patterson being closed down by Kyle Joseph. Comes back to Charlie Hughes in the middle of the Hull City half. Plays it out to the left wing. And it's just poked through, looking for Lincoln in the penalty area. But Patterson gets to it first. Rolls it out to Job. Job mundles on the left wing. Job's taking this over halfway. He's checked and coming back inside now. Plays it into the middle to Dan Neal in the centre circle. Across on the right to Hume. Roberts is down the right touchline. He goes for Rigg though. Down the right side of the penalty area. He falls over his own feet. And the ball goes behind for a goal kick. Very, very frustrating. 59th minute, Sunderland 0, Hull City 1. Pandor, the two
Meyender's
centre-backs
coming-
either side of him.
Meyender's coming up
Meyender's
now.
going to come on, isn't he? It's warming up. In fact, is that Meyender or is that Salis?
It's got to be Mayenda. It looks like Salis.
I was just thinking it looks like Salis. I'm not sure if that is Meyender, but
That won't be popular, Nick.
we'll see shortly. Here's Dan Neil. Neil out wide to Mundle. There's a run from Sirkin down the left of the penalty area. The ball played into the back of the penalty boxes, knocked out by Hull. Comes back to Mundle on the left-hand side here. Back to O'Nien. O'Nien, short pass inside to Mepham. And, oh no, it is Meyender, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's Meyender's going to come on.
Number 12.
And Mundle on the left swings it across to the far post, headed back by Roberts onto the roof of the net. Acute angle, couldn't quite get it in, but Meyender's going to come on now. And the player he's going to replace is Rigg. Meyender then comes on. Can Eliza Meyender change the direction of the game? It's a frustrated Chris Rigg who his head drops as he walks into the dugout.
Interesting now. You've got two up top now.
Yeah, and they're trying to put the press on Pandor, who passes the ball out to Alzate and out to Jones, coil down the touchline. Lincoln tries a little back heel inside to go straight to Dan Neil. Now Job, he's pulled down by Alzate. Free kick to Sunderland. We're on the hour mark, 61st minute. Hull leading 1-0. Here's Mundle down the left-hand side, trying to get in past Coyle and Lincoln, but fouled by Lincoln on a free kick on the left between the penalty area and the touchline. Lincoln, the Brazilian, spoken to by Farai Hallam, the referee this afternoon, who I think actually on the whole has refereed this game quite
he's done well.
Yeah. It's been one of the better referees. Senior referee officer at the FA, you'd expect him to be. So Mundle and Roberts, Mundle runs away. Roberts is going to take the free kick. Most of the penalty area is now in shadow, which it wasn't in the first half. Here's Roberts curling it in. They've tried to attack it, but Hull have got so many people back, they've managed to get it out to Lincoln on the right-hand side. And he's trying to get it down here on the right for Gelhardt. They've got 4 against 2 here. And Gelhardt to the edge of the area, taps it in now. And it's pushed in. Is it? No. It's somehow cleared. It's going to drop for a back heel goal.
Offside. He's offside.
But the offside flag is up. It won't count. So that cheeky goal from Matt Crooks will not count.
Got away with it, Nick.
It did. It was 4 against 2 on the counter-attack from Sunderland's free kick.
I think Trey Hume was excellent.
So 1-0 it remains. Gelhardt tried to get the ball. He slipped it in, and it came up off Patterson. And then as the ball was played to Crooks, he was marginally offside when the ball was played through to him. Mepham with a big kick for Isidore to chase down to the goal line, but he can't keep it in. It's a goal kick to Hull City, 63rd minute. And holding on to a precious 1-0 lead, Hull, 21st in the Championship. Well aware perhaps at half-time that Cardiff are leading at Plymouth. They play Cardiff on Tuesday, Hull City. Now they take their time with a goal kick. They pass it amongst themselves at the back, and then it's played up towards the halfway line. Lincoln, challenged by Sirkin, comes off Alzate, drops for O'Nien, finds Dan Neil, he's tackled, and they're trying to push it forwards. Crooks feels he was obstructed. He's furious, but the referees let play go on. And Roberts now has to roll it out to Hume on the right. A burst from Hume, a cross from him, looking for Meyender, but put away for a throw a few yards from the corner flag on the right-hand side for Sunderland. Hume. Now Roberts looks up, plays it into the middle. Luke O'Neill forwards to Sirkin on the left of midfield. Wide to Mundle. Mundle now. Coyle in front of him. And Mundle trying to twist away from Lincoln now. And Coyle comes across, slides in underneath the legs of Mundle and concedes a throw to Sunderland. Sirkin's going to take this. Across comes Job. Mundle's down the line, but it's gone for Job. Job pushes it back to Mepham in the middle. Neil. Dan Neil now across on the right-hand side to Hume. Roberts is just inside of him. And now down to Hume again. His cross into the penalty area is just hooked away over Mundle by Coyle, but Mundle's run onto it, out towards the touchline. Now cutting back inside, runs into Lincoln. Lincoln puts a foot to it, and Sirkin's going to cross. Is there anybody there? Pandor catches it before it lands on the head of Mayenda. It's now Plymouth 1, Cardiff 1. Cardiff playing with 10 men. And Sunderland 0, Hull City 1 here at the Stadium of Light in the 65th minute. Tomorrow afternoon, full commentary of Newcastle United against Nottingham Forest, build up from 1 o'clock here on BBC Radio Newcastle. Solihull against Gateshead here this afternoon. As the ball in the air, headed on by Mepham, up towards halfway, headed on again by Hull, by Hughes. It comes all the way back, and Jones has to chase back for this. And Mienda's made the block, and he's won the throw. He whips the bands up. Mundle will take the throw.
Take the throw down now.
And leaves it for Sirkin. Sirkin hurls it back to Luke O'Neill on the halfway line. Mepham in the centre circle. Sunderland still trailing 1-0. Hume out to Roberts. He's got to come past McLaughlin. McLaughlin just tracking him. And Gelhart's over there as well. Roberts trying to shake off the pair of them. Trying to get to the goal line. Looks on his left foot. Gets the ball into the penalty area, but straight to Alzate. And the Colombian hooks it out into midfield. And up goes Crooks with Mepham and Hume. Hume gets a touch, comes back to O'Neill, who plays it back to Patterson in the middle of the Sunderland half. He taps it on to Luke O'Neill. Out here on the left, now to Sirkin, wide again to Mundle. 67th minute now. Hull leading for that 18th minute own goal from Anthony Patterson. And with Mepham on halfway, just to the right of the centre circle. Neil just ahead of him. Mepham again, back to O'Neill on the left, spreading it wide again to Dennis Sirkin, halfway inside the Hull City half. Joe back to Sirkin. Sirkin, Lincoln's in front of him, gets a touch, but Mundle picks up the loose ball, plays it behind him to Job, into the centre circle to Mepham, and wide to Patrick Roberts. Hume jogs forward. Isidor's in there. Mienda's in there. Roberts trying to get the ball in from the right side of the penalty area, and Gelhart blocks it for a corner.
They're going to make a double substitution.
Hull are, yes, yeah. And they are going to bring on João Pedro, who's a striker,
Gustavo Poeta,
and the Colombian Gustavo Poeta. As Roberts swings the ball in, it's headed away out for a throw by McLaughlin. So who is coming off? Joseph is coming off for Pedro. And Crooks is swapping the front two.
Freshening things up.
Freshening things up in front. So Gustavo Poeta, who's on loan from Bayer Leverkusen, 21-year-old. He comes on with João Pedro, who's actually an Italian now, and there's a stoppage as well because there's a Hull player down needs treatment. And João Pedro's background's interesting. He was born in Brazil, and he then switched allegiance to Italy and got his first cap, his only cap, 3 years ago against North Macedonia. As the players all come down towards the touchline here, a few stand around to see what the issue is. Not sure which player it is that's down, but he's now receiving some treatment, the Hull player who's sitting in the Hull City penalty area. Sunderland 0, Hull City 1, if you're just joining us on BBC Radio Newcastle. He's being helped to his feet. Standing up between the two medics, the physios. And it looks as though it's Charlie Hughes, I think. So it might call for another substitution. Looks like there may be another injury. John Egan, the former Sunderland centre-half. Looks like he's going to replace Hughes. So Charlie Hughes is coming off. John Egan, 32 years old now, who was at Sunderland as a youngster between 2009 and 2014 and had loans at Crystal Palace, Sheffield United, who he went on to play for, of course, Bradford and Southend. 36 caps for the Republic of Ireland. The fourth official wants to check his studs. And Egan still waiting to come on. He's standing beside the fourth official, who's showing the board now and making it official. Egan on then, John Egan. And has returned to Sunderland. Sirkin with this throw for Sunderland. We're in the 70th minute. Charlie Hughes and Ruben Sellers having a long conversation as Charlie Hughes comes off and heads into the dugout. The ball cleared by Hull. One back by Jobe. Matazzo pushes him over. And it's a free kick which Jobe puts his foot through. Back to Mepham at the edge of the centre circle. Now to O'Nien. Still 1-0 to Hull City with 20 minutes or so to play. Mundle on the left here. Tries to get into the penalty area. Is blocked. Free kick for Sunderland.
It should be a yellow card.
Now. Is that going to be a yellow card for Coyle? Referee speaking to him, but no further action. Left side, just outside the penalty area. It was a cynical foul. It was no doubt about it. So,
good delivery.
Mundle and Roberts. Mundle's still bouncing up and down with his left foot. Yeah, sore on the right, where he was caught.
Good delivery.
Roberts is going to take the free kick. Mundle's still trying to run off that knock. He's played short to Mundle. Right foot strike, blocked by Alzate. Headed back in by O'Nien. It's in the air again, and there's offside.
Offside.
Free kick to Hull City. 72nd minute. Pandor's not really had much to do, has he? He's not had a save to make in the second half. Only one in the first half, right at the end, when Ballard headed straight at him, but he's not had anything to do in terms of saving anything in this second half. His kick up over the halfway line. It's dropped, looking for Pedro. It's cleared though by Dan Neal. McLaughlin gets his head on it, and now Matazzo is trying to control it. And he's played it down on the left for Gelhardt. It's in the air. It's dropped for O'Nien in the centre circle, but one back by Hull. They get the ball from Pedro through to, well, in the end, Puerto trying to find Lincoln. Comes back halfway, McLaughlin down the left to Gelhardt, nudging it on to Lincoln. Two in the box for Hull, and it's gone behind. Has it? Oh, it's come off the crossbar, and Patterson somehow clawed it away. As it was played back in, it's still in play in the corner with Mundle, who's played it out straight, though, to Puerta. And he plays it inside to Alzate at the corner of the penalty area. The two Colombians together here. Puerta to Coyle. Back to Gustavo Puerta down in the corner. Jobe and Mundle trying to get the ball off him, which they do. Jobe digs it out up to the halfway line. A chase for Mayenda, but John Egan plays it back to Pandor, the goalkeeper in his light blue. Out to Egan. Showed too much to Isidore. Now Mayenda. Matazzo's over him, but Mayenda on his right foot. Whistles past the foot of the post. Inches wide of the foot of the left post. After a mistake by John Egan.
But that's where you've got two strikers, put pressure on you, win the ball.
And now the goalkeeper. The referee's going to book him. Yellow card for Pandor. For time wasting. in the 74th minute. He's waiting to take the goal kick. So that's 2 chances whistling past the left post. The goal kick from Pandor, then the Croatian up over the halfway line, headed on by Sirkin on the touchline, and Coyle stabs it forwards, but Sirkin gets it back to Mundle. Lincoln gets the ball off him. Lincoln now just flicking it through to João Pedro. Can't keep it in on this right-hand side, Gustavo Puerta. And so it's a throw to Sunderland, which has gone back to Patterson. Passes it out now to Mepham. Sunderland 0, Hull City 1, just over a quarter of an hour to play, plus whatever time's added on. There's 6 minutes at the end of the first half. We've had a few stoppages in the second half. Job to Mundle. Mundle back to Sirkin. Sirkin back again to O'Nien. O'Nien across now to Mepham. Pedro gives chase. It's played wide to Roberts inside the Hull half. He's pulled down, was he? By McLaughlin. The referee agrees. It's Everton 2, Manchester United 1 in the Premier League, the lunchtime kickoff. O'Nien wide now to Mundle. Mundle looks up, brings it inside to Dan Neal. Neal looking for the run of Sirkin, but it's just overhit. Runs out at the corner flag for a throw to Hull. And the pressure increasing time-wise on Sunderland as we get this final quarter of an hour.
I've got a feeling.
Can they go on and win it? Let's just concentrate on getting one, actually. let's just start at the beginning. Throw to Hull. Coyle will take it down the line, headed back by Sirkin to O'Nien, inside to Mepham on the halfway line in the centre circle. Mepham plays it across to Neal here on the left-hand side, and wide again to Mundle. We're live on BBC Radio Newcastle. Sunderland 0, Hull City 1 in the 76th minute. More live football to come at 3 o'clock with Solihull Moors and Gateshead, Colin White and Paul Dixon. The ball in the middle with Mepham out to Hume, wide, and looks to try and get it to Mayenda down the right side of the penalty area, but the defender just held off Mayenda and the ball whipped behind for a goal kick. Sounds like a wholehearted appeal to get people to sit down, and they've all stood up. That's had the absolute opposite effect of what was intended. The message to sit down is blatantly ignored. Matazzo's coming forwards now for Hull City, out to the left wing, where Gelhardt swings in across, looking for Pedro, but it's headed away. It will drop again down that left side for McLaughlin to try and win, but Hume has got it, and McLaughlin, well, he lets it. Hume plays it off him behind for a goal kick. 77th minute, Sunderland 0, Hull City 1. Hull are thinking about yet another change. It'll be their final one, and I'm wondering if it's Amrabat. No, I don't think it is. No, it's not. I don't think it's going to be Mason Burstow either. Now, Mepham trying to get forwards. Could be Regan Slater, I think.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be Slater who's going to come on.
Slater, correct.
For Hull City, it'll be their final change. Midfielder. 1-0 to Hull. Mundle down the left to Sirkin. He's played it straight to Alzate. Come out here on the right for Puerta. He's out to the touchline. He's forced out by Dan Neal. He puts the ball out. Dan Neal takes a quick throw. O'Nien now to Isidore. Sunderland, of course, desperately trying to avoid their first home defeat of the season. Roberts running at Gelhardt at the corner of the penalty area on the right. Still going. Roberts sliding it through to Joe, but he can't get it through to Isidore. Comes out to O'Nien, and now Dan Neal. Mundle on the left-hand side. Coyle in front of him. Mundle crosses. It's headed in the air by the defenders. Egan heads it out. Pedro nods it out to Puerta, who gives it to Lincoln, who's trying to get Pedro away, but Mepham knocks it back into the Hull half. Lincoln tries to get it forward again. It comes back to Mepham. Lincoln picks himself off the floor. Mepham plays it across to Trey Hume, just right of the centre circle. Down the right now to Roberts. Roberts dribbling at Gelhardt into the penalty area, leaving it now for Hume to cross. It's whipped away though from Mienda. It's out for a throw on the far side to Sunderland. Hume races across to take it, and Slater's coming on now. He's coming on for Matazzo. So they freshen things up yet again. Hull City, who lead 1-0. The Belgian, Elliot Matazzo, heading off. On comes Regan Slater. 10 minutes or so, plus whatever time is added on, for Sunderland to at least find an equaliser. And here's Hume. Plays it back to Mepham. Mepham across the front of the centre circle to O'Nien. O'Nien wide now to Mundle. Mundle forced back by Coyle. O'Nien's just behind him. O'Nien back out to Sirkin on the left. Crosses.
Good ball.
That's a crossfield ball because it effectively has picked up Roberts on the right touchline. Gelhardt stabs it away. Hume puts it back in here again, and Joe tries to get on the end of it, as did Isidore, but neither could. It's gone behind for a goal kick.
Got to head it
over the top of Isidore.
Is that on his head?
A touch. I'm not sure. We watched the replay. Did it make any contact with either? No, I think he missed it. Whistle past his forehead. Goal kick to Hull. Pandor placing the ball on the 6-yard line on the right, and all the players drifting towards this small square on the Hull City right, up through the middle. Mepham headed away from Pedro, out to Roberts on the right. Mienda's making a run down this right-hand side, needs someone else through the middle. It's put out for a throw though to Sunderland. Hume jogging down to take it. Back to Mepham on the halfway line. So is Luke O'Nien, and O'Nien to Sirkin down the left of midfield, out wide to Mundle. Mundle back to O'Nien, into Mepham, running onto this on the right side of central midfield, then plays it out to Roberts. Roberts now is going to come past Gelhardt again, comes out of the penalty area on the right, slips it into Hume, and Hume played it off McLaughlin. It looked like the ball might have crossed the goal line, but not fully. The assistant doesn't flag, the goalkeeper fell on it, and unfortunately Sunderland again couldn't find a way through. So Hull leading 1-0. A kick from Pandor, bounces once through the centre circle and will roll back all the way through to Anthony Patterson, who taps it out to Mepham. We're in the 82nd minute. We've nearly played 82 minutes. Hull lead from that 18th minute own goal by Anthony Patterson. Sirkin back to O'Nien. We're in the 83rd minute now. Neil away from Gustavo Puerta to O'Nien, and out to Mepham. Mepham down the right touchline. Patrick Roberts has been getting the ball a lot, Roberts, but it just needs to find a key to unlock this Hull defence. It's played out to Mundle on the left. Mundle now blocked by Lincoln, being forced out. Plays it back to Dan Neal. Neal in the middle. Plays it to Mepham just alongside of him. Back to Dan Neal on the left, and down to Sirkin, left of the penalty area. Lincoln goes with him, and Sirkin has to play it back to Neal. Closed down by Puerta. Played to Mepham in the middle. And now with Hume. Hume drives one into the penalty area. It's blocked. There's a call for handball off Coyle, and absolutely no reaction from the referee. Just a shake of the head now. And Mundle down the left. Crosses. Looking for Roberts. It's flicked away again. It's going to run out for yet another throw to Sunderland on the right, a few yards from the corner flag, which Roberts is going to leave for Hume. Hume comes down to take this now. Roberts just jogging into the penalty, looking for Mienda, comes back out to Hume on the far side, and he plays it back to Mepham. Mepham across to Dan Neal here in the middle, and Dan Neal down the left to Mundle. Mundle taking on Coyle. He's shaking him off, but then Coyle makes a block. Can't keep the ball in as he has. And it's gone for a throw at the corner flag. after Louis Coyle managed to recover as he tried to scrabble the ball away. It's now Everton 2, Manchester United 2 at Goodison Park. Sirkin to Mundle, and Mundle trying to get it back to Sirkin. He does. He's managed to work it through to Mundle again, but now Alzate winning it from Sirkin, slipping it down the touchline to Puerta, but he's played it in front of Dan Neil, and Neil turns and shakes off Puerta, and now has to do it again. Plays the ball inside to Job. Job across now to Mepham. 85th minute. Hull still leading 1-0. Here's Roberts down the right-hand side. Roberts dribbling at Gelhardt. Leaves it down the right of the penalty area for Hume's cross, but Blockman heads it out. It's another throw to Sunderland. Hume quickly takes it to Roberts. Roberts looks up, crosses in towards the penalty spot and Sirkin, but headed out by Hull. Neil plays it behind Mundle. It's a throw to Hull. Frustration. You can hear it, a hum of frustration around the crowd as Coyle, in no great hurry to come over and take the throw, meanders across, takes the throw, doesn't know, he went to take the throw and decides that he needs some movement from his teammates. And Coyle then down the line looking for Pedro, comes back to O'Nien on the halfway line, who slips it inside to Dan Neil, and Neil, edge of the centre circle, chased by Pedro, plays it here to Hume. Hume on the right wing now is Patrick Roberts, Gelhardt in front of him. Roberts coming back and plays it all the way back to Mepham at the edge of the centre circle. Now to Dan Neil, the 86th minute. Mundle wide on the left. Hull leading 1-0. Mundle, he's got Sirkin down the left, but he's got Lincoln in front of him, staying with him at every move that Mundle makes. Now Mundle onto his right, curls the ball in, looking for O'Nien. Isidore, he's managed to shoot halfway between the goal and the corner flag. Goal kick.
We just have not been good enough in that 18-yard box.
Hull City then looking at their 6th away win.
We haven't been a threat, have we, around that 18-yard box?
No, I mean, Pandor's not had a save to make.
And then you look at Hull, and 2 or 3 occasions, they could have easily have had a second goal.
They could have done it. Sort of, you can see now how they won 3-0 at Sheffield United. They're on the ball inside the Sunderland half. Slater to Coyle, wide on the right in front of Regis Lebris, and plays it back to Alfie Jones, inside to Egan, back to the keeper. And Pandor just casually rolls it out to Egan again and out to McLaughlin, wide on the left. Happy to play it deep into the Sunderland half, looking for Pedro, but back came Hume, and now O'Nien just outside the D. He's bringing this out. 87th minute, out to Sirkin on the left-hand side, where we talked about Sunderland conceding late goals. Can they score a late goal? They've done so on a few occasions this season. They need to do it again. Now Mepham wide to Roberts. Roberts again heading into the corner of the penalty area, slipping it to Hume. Hume shoots. Pandor finally made a save, palms it away. Sirkin plays it back to Mundle, and Mundle now has Lincoln in front of him again. Plays it to Neil. Man on, shouts the crowd. It's back from Mundle to Neil. In fact, it was Hume, and the initial crowd shout, and the ball played fairly tamely in straight at Pandor. So it's taken until the 87th minute for Pandor to make a save from Hume. Sunderland still trailing then, 1-0. Pandor with the kick up through into the Sunderland half. It drops to Luke O'Nien. Inside, in the middle, Mepham. Pedro in front of him, plays it square right to Hume, and Hume now plays it back to Chris Mepham. A lot of people staying. There's maybe a sense that late goal could come. Here's Sirkin down the left-hand side. I think we'll get quite a bit of injury time, added time. O'Nien down the left again to Sirkin. Lincoln's gone with him, slipped it in, trying to find Mundle, but Alzate makes a sliding challenge, and it's eventually stabbed behind by Sirkin for a goal kick. In the 89th minute, Hull lead 1-0. They have a goal kick and they've got to play it down. More time, I suspect, that will be added on at the end of the game.
I think the question is, have we done enough to win the game? Answer is no.
No, I'd agree with you there. I don't think they've done enough in many respects to even score an equaliser, have they? I mean, Hull have been so well organised. The fact that Pandor's only had one save to make, I think, probably tells a story in its own right. Disappointing from Sunderland, the reaction to the Monday night defeat to Leeds. Ball comes back to Dan Neil in the Sunderland half. Then Hume out to Roberts, closed down by Gelhardt. And then Puerta nearly won it, but back came Hume. He's got it back to Mepham and back again to Patterson in the last minute. Shortly, we'll see how much time's being added on at the end. Mepham bringing this up into the centre circle, leaving it for Dan Neil. Neil into the Hull half and then out wide to Mundle. Mundle cutting back inside into the middle to Job. Job to Mepham at the edge of the centre circle. Lewis Smith strolling out slowly to the touchline with the indicator board. Out to Sirkin, back again to Dan Neil. 6 minutes as the ball floats into the hands of Pandor. He manages to keep it in. So into those 6 minutes we go with Hull City leading 1-0. Pandor has the ball. The Croatian, 6'2", just walks out to the edge of his area and then kicks high up into the Sunderland half. Baletic sort of clearance attempted by Dan Neil, and then Sirkin has to try and head it clear, and Job gets it down to Neil. Neil bringing this on down the left hand side now for Mundle. Mundle out wide on the left, he's trying to cut in past Coyle, he clips the ball onto the roof of the net, and it's a goal kick to Hull. Played a minute of the 6 being added on. We had 6 at the end of the first half, we've got 6 at the end of the game. 5 left, Hull leading 1-0. Pandor waiting for everybody to get upfield, at least around the halfway line on the right wing. More Sunderland fans now have decided that's it, not going to get anything from this game. O'Nien nods the ball down to Mepham. Mepham now to Roberts on that right wing in the Hull half. Gelhardt goes with him, as does Alzate, but he comes into the middle, clips the ball in now, looking for the run of O'Nien. He goes down in a challenge, a shoulder barge, and the ball back with Pandor. O'Nien picks himself up, looks frustrated.
Tells you something when you've got the centre back who's the one who's making them runs.
Making the runs, yeah.
You know, where's your midfield players?
O'Nien just lurks beside Pandor, who takes the kick. High, 2 minutes played now of the minimum 6. Mepham gets it away from Pedro. Straight though to Gelhardt. He's still going, Gelhardt, and he's gone through now for Puerta. He gets a shot away, and it took a deflection for a corner. So in added time, Hull get their first corner of the second half. The first 2 caused mayhem, and they have this one now on the left, which Puerta's going to take.
No rush.
They're not in any rush. Hume's having to go just try and encourage Gustavo Puerta to get a move on.
Keep it in the corner, that's what they'll do.
They're leading 1-0. Gelhardt goes to join Puerta in the corner, the Roker end, and they do take it short. Gelhardt with his foot on it. Hume tries to kick it away. Roberts does. Goes straight to Alzate. It's stabbed away by Dan Neil. It comes back into the edge of the penalty area, and again Neil has to clear it, looking to try and get Isidore away. He's hauled down by John Egan, and Egan's shown a yellow card.
Taking one for the team now.
And they did. You know, I've no gripes about that. On the 94th minute now, Hull 1 up. Free kick for Sunderland almost on the centre spot. Trey Hume's going to take it. Daniel's just forwards of him on the left of the centre circle. And Hull pushing out quite a long way. Hume clips it up to the edge of the penalty area. Drops from Mepham. He couldn't quite control it. Coyle's gone flat on his face and the referee's blown for a free kick. I'm assuming for the push on Louis Coyle. Sunderland 0, Hull 1. Mienda's going to retrieve the ball. He wants to get on with this and plonks it down for Pandor to take the free kick. Played nearly 94 minutes now. Time ebbing away, slipping away from Sunderland. Supporters slipping away as well. Pandor with the free kick. Drives it up through the middle, straight to Mepham, who chests it down to Hume. Hume now to Roberts. Gelhardt quickly onto him and fouls Roberts. And there's a free kick, which Patterson's sprinting out to take on the right side. 95th minute, throws the ball forwards a few yards, just short of the halfway line. Sunderland pushing everybody up now, except Dan Neil in the centre circle. Hull again pushed right out here, 25 yards out to defend this free kick. Patterson drives it in. As the ball goes out wide left, Lincoln heads it in the air. Job tries to nod it on. Alzate heads it out to Puerta. Puerta now trying to set up Gelhardt to break, and he's got round Hume. He's getting away from Hume, and he's got Lincoln here on the right-hand side. Lincoln running onto this. Pedro in the middle, but Lincoln happy just to let it roll down. He's got Mepham in front of him. Plays it back to Alzate. Alzate in midfield now, just outside the area. Takes a shot, which comes off the back of Pedro, straight to Patterson. We're in the last minute.
You have to get it up, kick it.
And we've got now Derby 0, Millwall 1 right at the end in that lunchtime kickoff. 90th minute. Can Sunderland get something right at the death here? They've put the ball out for a throw to Hull on this right-hand side, and even the most die-hard of optimists here is leaving now, feeling that this game's beyond Sunderland. 30 seconds less left for Sunderland to try and find an equaliser, and Coyle has a throw for Hull down the right line. It comes back now to Dan Neil. Sunderland on the verge of losing their unbeaten home record. Roberts on the right, trying to dribble in here. Can he do something at the death? He's just put it round the post. His shot from just outside the penalty area was the last kick of the game. Sunderland have beaten for the first time in the league this season at the Stadium of Light, 1-0 by Hull City. Patterson's own goal in the 18th minute. And in fairness, Hull worked hard for that win. You can't say Sunderland did enough to get something from the game.
Well, you look at it, Nick, and it's a disappointing result. And I think overall, especially with the performance which we've been used to, it's been a disappointing performance. And again, obviously the spotlight is on Patterson. We gave him the benefit of the doubt maybe at Leeds, but I've got to say he's got to do better with that goal. But overall, we should never have given away the corner kick. That's sloppy play. But then to defend it was very, very poor. Now, I don't know, it's the lacking of what Roberts should have done better on the post. He's the smallest man in the team. I don't know what he's doing on the near post. But then, even then, there's no communication, because if there was, Patterson would have been an easy catch. It's come up Roberts' head. Patterson's there, and somehow it's gone through his hands, or it's his hands and it's gone in the net.
Hull City 1-0 winners here last season, 1-0 winners here again this season. Sunderland, a shadow of themselves really in so many ways. Pandor barely